Hello, everyone. You are listening to Your Palm Beach Guide with the Palm Beach Chamber of Commerce. My name is Kiana Rivera, and I'm the Vice President of Membership here at the Chamber. Today, our guest is Theo Dorsey from ESPN, and let me tell you, I'm so excited to have him on our podcast today. Theo, thank you so much for being here.
Excited to be here. Appreciate you having me.
Oh, yeah. So here's a little bit about Theo. Again, we always read you his bio. So Theo Dorsey is a jack of all trades. By day, he hosts Theoretically Speaking on ESPN 106.3 FM. By night, he's out in the community, emceeing events, moderating panels, and covering local sports for ESPN West Palm's streaming platform, ESPN West Palm Play. Theo is an award-winning sports anchor and has hosted various shows for the Palm Beach County TV and Film Commission, as well as anchored the sports desk for WPTV and WFLX. Some of his event hosting experience includes ESPN West Palm Top 63 Awards, the Lou Graza College Football Place Kicker Awards, Palm Beach Sports Commission Hall of Fame Ceremony, Timber Tech Championship, Orange Bowl, Fan Fest, and then Habitat for Humanity, United Way, the Palm Beach Chamber events, and so much more.
Wow,
so
I didn't
thank you, Theo.
I forgot about some of those. I appreciate you reminding me.
Yeah,
Good times.
you're like, wow, I did all of this stuff. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here. I mean, when I met you for our breakfast, a couple months ago, it seems like it was just such a joy to have you on stage, and you really just kept the conversation flowing, and your energy was incredible. So I just loved being around you. It was awesome.
That is great to hear, because I was nervous as all get up there on stage.
Oh my gosh. Well, and I met your wife that day too. And your wife has gotten super involved in the chamber now too. And she came to an event with us with the Women's Leadership Council. And I was just like, girl, we're going to be friends. Like, this is going to happen. So thank you.
I absolutely love it. And it was my favorite part about that whole thing was the crowd, which I thought were going to be like bored to tears of just hearing us up there talk sports and business. They were kind of engaged.
Oh, yeah.
And they were in it. And obviously it's easy when you're up there with guys like Ken Kennerly and whatnot. They verbose.
Well, and too, I think that people were so surprised that we were able to secure all of you. I mean, I was surprised we were able to secure all of you. I was like, heck, we've really raised the bar over here. So I know that we've gotten so much feedback from that breakfast that it blew us away, and it was all positive. Like, there was not one negative comment that came out of that. It was like, we need to have more sports panels. Nice. We need to have more conversations like this. I was like, this is great. Let's do it again. So I'm so pumped for all the future things.
That's music to my ears. And I do know that there's possibly something in the works for us to bring something back. So I'm looking forward to that. Football season is going to be great around here as always. So as we cover it on Theoretically Speaking on ESPN 106.3, I'll also have it readily available to talk about anytime y'all will have me.
Good. So I'm pumped to hear it. So as we get into this, I want to start from the absolute beginning. When you graduated and you were kind of trying to figure out what you wanted to do with life, did you always know you wanted to go into this field? Or were you like, I don't really know, so let me try out a couple things, and then you just were like, I have a really good talent for this, I'm going to lean into it?
I was in college, so I went to Hampton University in Virginia. An HBCU from Houston, Texas. So I was away from family out in Virginia.
Oh, my. By yourself?
Yeah, by myself, outside of whatever college mates I had, roommates and friends. And that's where I found my wife, Ashley, as well, my freshman year. But when I was coming out of there, I knew I wanted to be in sports journalism.
Okay.
I didn't know exactly which route. I had been the sports editor for the Hampton Script, our newspaper. I did radio work as well for WHOV 88.1. And I was the lead sports anchor for really 3 or more years, 3 years and a little bit of change at Hampton.
Yeah.
So TV was the most desired route. But the funny thing that a lot of people don't know about is I actually, like, when I walked across the stage, I had already accepted an offer to do like a social media position.
Oh, no way.
In New York. Now, it sounds like the position of my dreams, right? It's with AOL Sports. It was going to be a position where they promised me some TV time. In the digital side, but mostly behind the scenes work to get their social media stuff going and flowing. And then a couple days afterwards, I actually got my very first and only TV offer.
No.
And it was to be a split between a sports anchor and a news reporter in Albany, Georgia, in South Georgia, market 154 out of like 200. I was like so torn.
Yeah.
And the biggest part was I was already apartment shopping in New York. The salary I was gonna get, as
you
we
were
all
ready
know,
for it.
I was I thought I was a Big Apple guy.
Right.
I was ready for the city. And
isn't that us all though? Because it's like when I was in college and I was I thought also I wanted to go into sports, and then specifically the like sports PR, not so much journalism. I didn't want to be on TV. I didn't want to, do the news, anything like that. But I wanted to write and kind of be like a crisis management, because like sports always has something wrong. I know it's like always changing. It's like there's going to always be a job security, right? Mm-hmm. And I was convinced I was going to move to New York too. And I did all of this groundwork. I had interviews in New York, like my junior and senior year of college. I really hit the pavement and was like, I'm just going to be young and hungry and say, I'm out of college. I want to work. Take me. Mm-hmm. So I went up to New York for my first time when I was a junior. Right at Christmas. So it was freezing, mind you, but it was beautiful. It was Christmas. It was like all the movies you see. But the movies don't really explain to you, obviously, because it's a movie, about how like terrifying the subway is or how many people are in New York and that you walk over those like steam things that come out of the ground and it smells like garbage.
I don't like that.
And you're like, oh, a quick source of heat. And you're like, I just feel like I died inside.
Yeah, like it's like all like rat poop
so
and
gross.
Whatever the heck is flowing out of
Literally,
those vents.
it was disgusting. And I just remember having this moment where I got off at the wrong subway stop. I walked out to wherever I was. I looked around. And I walked right back down. I said, nope, this is not for me. And I kid you not, I pivoted and was like, I'm not moving to New York.
Well, I didn't even make it to the city.
You didn't even make it, no.
As I was apartment shopping and whatnot, I realized Albany would be my chance to actually go and live what I felt was my purpose.
Good.
Telling stories, being in a community and doing it on TV. So I circumvented that journey, but it brought me into a whole new world where the one thing I've learned is I kind of live by the motto of how you do anything is how you do everything.
Good.
I hustled my butt off in TV. I didn't want to do news. I wanted to just do sports, but I beat the pavement getting news stories and sources and made some stuff work.
Yeah.
And that same thing is kind of what has carried me to some level of success out here.
Yeah.
I'm a TV guy.
Yeah.
And as you know right now, I'm predominantly radio guy now.
I know.
And to make that shift in the career, it wasn't easy. But it took some of that same earnestness that you talked about coming out of college where you're like, I'll do whatever, whenever.
Right.
And
you have to have that attitude, honestly, it feels like. For anything, honestly, because I love that you transitioned. You came in and you said, I'm really good at this. This is what I want.
Yeah.
And then an opportunity arose and you're like, I can make this the best opportunity that I can make it. And now, like you said, it's opened up all of these doors for you now with all of the success that you're receiving. So I just think that's awesome. It's a true testament to who you are as a person and your hustle and drive. So kudos to you.
Right. And don't speak too soon. We're only 54 episodes in, theoretically speaking.
No,
we don't know.
Seriously, that's incredible.
Yeah, no.
Well, real quick, you're listening to Your Palm Beach Guide with the Palm Beach Chamber of Commerce, and today our guest is Theo Dorsey, and he's the host of Theoretically Speaking on ESPN 106.3 on weekdays from 5 to 6 p.m. And so I want you to kind of share, after you got that role in Georgia, what happened next for you? Was it a hard grind and then you made the transition to Florida, or how did that happen?
So I actually spent 3.5 years in South Georgia. When I first started, it was hybrid news and sports. About a year and a half in, as I was looking to go elsewhere, I felt like I had a really good place in the community. Plus, my news director offered me a promotion to be the lead of the sports department. Dropped the news portion, but something that was even more, I think, rewarding for me was if I were to take that job, I would have been the first Black sports director in Albany at WAOB, which had been there since 1954. And if you know anything about the South Georgia area, very rural, very Black, especially when it comes to the sports and the sports that they care about, the football, the basketball, where a lot of the money is poured into.
Oh, yeah.
And where a lot of professional athletes come out of. And I realized like a year and a half into that, though I thought I was ready to leave South Georgia, the community wanted someone like me. I can feel that need to tell their stories and to share with them successes and even some of the, the downtrodden stories that you have to share as well. So that held me there for another like 2 years. And I think that maybe had been one of the more rewarding 2 years of my life. I created a show called Sports Talk with Theo Dorsey there.
Nice.
That show is still going.
Oh, no way. It's still going.
Well, they dropped my name part of it.
Yeah. No, but still. Well, you created something that has outlasted you, which is awesome. That's just like a part of your legacy.
And that's how I've always thought about legacy. Right. Like a lot of people think about is it how many trophies you have in your case or how many awards you were presented with. But legacy to me is what you leave behind and how it continues to grow.
Right.
And seeing what the sports department looks like these days since I've left, I think there's been multiple young black folk who have taken over and done that role. There have been people of other races and creeds. Yeah. There's been women that have led the department now. There's been a lot of change there. And it's been kind of transformative to not just be a part of it, but now watch it from the outside.
Well, I think that's amazing because you really just kind of set the tone for that. And you opened up a space that probably people didn't feel comfortable even exploring or even putting it on their radar that said, like, I can do this. Like, this is an option for me. And you were able to spearhead that.
And that platform is much of it's a privilege. It comes with some pressure because you don't want to mess it up.
I know.
I'm like, yo, like,
you're like,
I'm the first one. It might be never another one if I don't do this thing the right way. So, you know, and I don't take that lightly. It's not as serious or as dramatic as some of the other many firsts. And you know, when you think about Black history specifically, but even just in the history of time, people who have been trailblazers, I don't consider myself that, but I did make somewhat of a change there and an impact that was lasting. And, you know, that's not lost on me at all.
Right.
So,
well, legacy life. I love that.
Yes, yes.
So when you were able to be there for 5-ish years, right?
Three and a half years there.
And then
I left for North Carolina to be a news reporter. I did that for actually 8 months.
8 months.
In North Carolina, in Greensboro. I left that situation there.
Yeah, you're like, no, it's not for me.
It wasn't necessarily for me. Right. That probably was one of the lowest parts of my life. Right. I felt I didn't get clinically diagnosed for it, but I was dealing with symptoms that felt like depression.
Right.
I was away from family for so long, since college, since being in Georgia.
Well, because you're in Houston, right?
Yes, my family's all in Houston.
Right.
I have a younger brother who's like 9 years younger than me.
Oh, man.
And, you know, I missed some very pivotal years of his life just being away and not being able to come back as much. So I actually left the industry to go back to Houston. It was 4 or 5 months ahead of the pandemic. I'm no psychic. I didn't know.
Okay.
But when I did go back home to Houston, I was able to watch my brother win a championship in basketball senior year. Way. I was able to be at his graduation, though it was a drive-by pandemic graduation come May. And then also very important to me, my mother she earned her doctorate while I was there. So we got to have
that whole thing.
Yes, the Dr. Mom party. She makes me call her Dr. Mom.
Dr. Mom. That's actually amazing. You gave me a great idea. My mom is going through a PhD right now. Yes. And so I'm going to throw her Dr. Mom party when she's done. Dr.
Mom. Like, you got to do it. It's such an incredible feat. And it's like, to me, once I got done getting my bachelor's, I was like, maybe a master's somewhere down the line, but I'm definitely not going to be going back to school.
Heck no. I don't know how she does it. Both our moms, man. Kudos to them. Shout out to our moms because they make it happen, and I think they instilled that in us to keep going.
Yes,
you know?
And I'll just soak it up by osmosis. All the knowledge they gained through school.
You're like, I'll listen. No, that's great. So you were able to then at least get some, not even closure, but just to go back to your roots, be home, and then what made you get that opportunity to come here now for that?
That was, it's funny how that worked too, because in March, literally the day before the NBA shut down, actually 2 days before the NBA shut down, I was at my buddy's wedding in Atlanta. I had been interviewing with ESPN West Palm. They had a gig open. I'm getting ready to come out there, cover sports. I'm over here researching Palm Beach County and Treasure Coast athletics. I'm like, I can't wait to ask DJ Bolden this about Pahokee and like look at how the basketball landscape is and John Collins, Scotty Barnes. I'm over here doing all of this research.
All of it, yeah.
I'm ready to go. And then literally as they were getting ready to fly me out to West Palm Beach in March of 2020.
Right. Well, we shut down in March 2020, yeah.
Everything shut down. Life stopped. And remember, when we first heard about that, it was supposed to be a week or 2
it wasn't.
Or 3.
Yeah.
So imagine being in a job hunt.
Oh, my gosh. That is so stressful.
I was already I had already been dealing with so many other things. And I know that people don't talk about the issues of mental health as serious enough as we probably should address them. We're getting better at that.
Good.
I was dealing with things I didn't even understand at that time.
Right.
And then for that to happen and for this dream of mine to be able to come out here, do TV and radio, to be prolonged so long, that March, I thought I was going to be moving to South Florida by April to take the job. I didn't get that job, and I waited on it. I didn't get it until December.
Oh, my gosh.
The first event I covered was the roofclaim.com Boca Raton Bowl at that time in December. Zach Wilson, BYU versus UCF at FAU Stadium. I'll never forget it because I remember walking right by Howard Schnellenberger's statue and hearing a video that I had recorded for ESPN West Palm play on the Jumbotron.
Oh,
and I was like, oh, my God, I've made it.
You made it. You're
working.
Here.
I'm with ESPN. I'm in South Florida. I'm living life. Like,
wow.
But I feel like I needed those valleys. I needed the time in North Carolina where I wasn't feeling like I was living in purpose.
Right.
I needed the, being this close
to
getting a dream job.
That's
and waiting 8 months. Damn near, like, oh, excuse me.
Yeah.
I apologize for my French, but waiting
that's
so long.
Okay. It's true. Hell yeah. I'm not even joking.
It brought me back to that time. But
that causes me stress, and I've never experienced that, but I couldn't imagine it being so close.
Yes.
Like, it wasn't like a couple weeks, it was 2 days.
The carrot was right in front of my face,
right.
and it kept on getting pulled back. It was like the dollar in the Geico commercial.
Exactly.
Like, I thought it was right. I thought I had it.
That's
too
funny.
Slow. But I mean,
wow.
that's what makes you appreciate it even more. That's why, every day I come to do a show, anytime I'm doing a story for ESPN West Palm Play or emceeing an event, right. I want to be fully present here. I want to really enjoy the moment and embrace it because I know how it can be this close,
right.
or in your pocket, and it can get snatched away so quick.
Wow.
Yeah,
oh my goodness, you got me all emotional now. Here we go. Real quick, you're listening to Your Palm Beach Guide with the Palm Beach Chamber of Commerce. Today, again, our guest is Theo Dorsey from Theoretically Speaking, ESPN 106.3. And I want to transition real quick, Theo, to Theoretically Speaking.
Mm-hmm.
And how did that come about? What is it that you cover? How can people get a hold of you? What's the best way that we can support you? All of those things.
Number one, the best way to support, I tell people, is free. You just hop on YouTube at Theo Speaking, search that in the search bar, and subscribe.
Good.
We do a good job about putting out, when we're about to have our shows, alerts for you to stream it live from 5 to 6. We post a lot of clips afterwards of the shenanigans and the breaking news and the important stuff. But we're not just here to inform; we're here to entertain.
Right.
So we have a good process about that. My producer CCAT is amazing about getting a lot of videos up and running on the YouTube page. So that's the number one way to support. Right. But Theoretically Speaking is I like to think of it as like a show for the people. I didn't grow up dreaming to be radio host guy.